I'm not sorry. Yes. Yes, it was just a. When you're single, I mean. Yeah, I got one of those too. Yeah, I got one of those. I'm not gonna try to check you. Until they. Say, oh, well, you know what? It's been around 25. I believe in my house. I believe it. That's right. So we didn't really check that, though. How are you, TJ?
Good. Doing well. Doing well, thank you.
I want to do some back this time, you know. Hey, so. I got one. I live on the road, but I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah. No, fine.
That's all right.
See that.
Here's a ladder, here's a ladder. Yeah.
I'm Wilson.
Oh. Yeah. Hello. Usually. Yeah. On my glasses.
Don't make faces at me. Don't make faces at me. Don't make them back.
She's over there, me talking to her. I'm gonna tolerate that. This way.
You can't have this next to me and start laughing and make faces. I'll play one of them. Don't look at it. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Escort her out. Give me the word.
That's for me too. We'll be laughing at both of us out there. Okay, that's.
I'm gonna show you a girl. I can sit.
I'm sitting with this.
Not, I can sit.
Sorry, question.
That's a home pool.
Oh, yeah. I will.
Oh, they are? Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's something. I don't know.
Oh, well, yeah, I think I will.
AC chocolate.
Oh, Dave?
Oh,
Yeah, I drove, so.
I don't know where I'm going.
As long as it's not like. I'll be enjoying the cinema. That's how much you are.
So many flights.
Yeah.
I know.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, thank you.
That's fine.
Hello, how are you? Good, what can I do for you?
Just a.
Anticipated.
These are.
Yeah.
I know you got that. But my question is, I'm just curious, for the bringing in, items for 20,000. The dealer, maybe did it 25.
You take that on as the attorney. That met with you. I just opened them, that's right. Yeah, it's a little weird. There might be.
I'm sure there was, I was just wondering.
No.
That is important.
No, she's one that drew that. Not sure he has an expert. Okay.
That's why.
And it was like, I thought I need a special permission. I already got the kids running the strategies.
Yeah, knowing you. And I know you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you, yeah.
Save my dog.
Oh, yeah. I think
All right. Hi, TJ. Good.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Did Ally catch you in 2012? Oh my gosh. I was like, I don't have time to talk about it right now. Oh, great. Great. Hey, Erica. Hi, how are you? Thank you. I have to pull up here, but 25 pages.
That's good.
Oh, yeah, sometimes I do.
All right.
Another thing, right now, one day.
Do you want to read that one?
Oh, gee, that's good practice. Fine. Are you have Chris, you do the other one? Are you doing the other one? That's all right. You can- I didn't say. You could take. That's what I want to hear. I'll be doing it. Yeah. I'm assuming that this is supposed to be Bradley.
Yes.
But listen, I would have just read it and been like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I would have just read it again.
Okay, 6:30, let's go. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Pledge allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I wish to announce that the 48-hour notice is required under the Open Public Meetings Act was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Co-Star, and the New Coaster on December the 7th of 2023. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office and that a copy has been filed with the municipal clerk. As a courtesy to the public, this meeting may be attended via Zoom. If for any reason the Zoom portion of this meeting fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue and action can and will be taken providing there is an in-person quorum. Ms. DeNoble? Here. Mr. Gubatose?
Here.
Ms. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Weber?
Here.
Mayor Fox?
Here. Good evening, everybody. On this auspicious evening at the end of February. We'll make a couple of commercial announcements before we get going here. I've made these the last few meetings. We started a process, the council trying to welcome disagreements, but try to understand different perspectives, but our voices should be constructive. So we'll ask everybody to try to have a constructive voice this evening. We are always on a journey to improve Bradley Beach, and we ask people to join in that vision of continuing to improve Bradley Beach. And we just ask everybody to gauge their tone going forward. We're all neighbors, small town, and hopefully we can do that. We'll continue to try to tighten up our clock management. We're trying to accommodate people that want to be here, but can't afford a 3 or 4 hour meeting. So we're going to try to ask people to help us get to those objectives. I apologize up front. We're doing the executive session up front because of some time constraints I have. So we're going to make a motion to go into an executive session for hopefully no longer than a half hour, hopefully less. Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, let's see how long.
Erica, before we go in, the static has already started.
can't hold that right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, I can't remember if you have like some magic sticks or you.
I'll turn it off.
Okay.
But you know what? Very well. That's kind of cool. The yellow shirt. Is it kind of cool? I have kind of cool one at the back of the road and I've had it for years. I bet you're right.
You're right. I'm very. I should have said that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let me take it to the bottom of your notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have, it's good. Okay, oh, good. And then, I usually have Chris for the water there. Okay, I will always oversee that. But that's, you know, that again, those are, I can't be clear. Like, I can't do what they do, but do I can figure out. And that's what we have. And we have. So, in and out. But I mean, if he wants us to take it. No, not bad. Not for me. That's good. I'm out of a job already. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's why he worked 5 degrees. Yeah. So did I. No, no. Oh my God. No, I Oh, wow. What can I call That's maybe. Yes. Actually, the ladies are. With that.
Sorry?
Motion to go back.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just getting, we're gonna skip. Make a motion to go back into session.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, we will now go into mayor and council reports. We'll start with Councilman Wells.
Right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the council regulars, but really welcome to all the newcomers, because there's a lot of new faces here. It's great to see people. I'm gonna comment on recent events and I'm gonna wait for that to stop. The only thing I'm gonna say about those body cam videos is that our police department is more than its chief. As evidenced by the body cam video, our police department has men and women of every rank, from relatively new officers to people that have been doing the job for a very long time. And they do their job every day. They do it under difficult circumstances. The same goes for the department leadership. They do their job every day. The department is more than its chief. I also want to add that the body cam video shows our first aid squad, who are volunteers, who do not get paid. And they are doing their jobs under difficult circumstances. This video shows first responders that have been doing it for decades alongside trainees essentially that are in high school. They're out there at 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday, providing their services to the town as volunteers. Now, there's what happened, and then there's process. And you all know I'm a process guy. If this administration did not contact Monmouth County prosecutor when they should have, that's a problem. And I say, note that I say if. Letting the prosecutor's office do their job was the right thing. That's what we all did. We sat tight while that process unfolded. But it's absolutely unacceptable to me that the Monmouth County prosecutor's office wrapped up their investigation, sent their report to this town over a month ago, and the administration did not share that fact with the council. It's unacceptable that we had 2 meetings right here in this chamber in late January and in the middle of February. And the administration had this report and they didn't say anything. Now we're told that the rest of the council is going to get a redacted report, a redacted version of the report. And again, on some level, I find that unacceptable. And unfortunately, you know, when there's distractions like this, there are things that are not getting done in this town. For example, we have a DPW contract that needs to be negotiated and finalized, like job 1. There's a list I could go through. So that's all I'm going to say on the recent events. The rest of this is going to be like a regular council report where the Fletcher Lake Commission did not meet in February, so I don't have a report for you there. Although they still want a sign about not feeding the waterfowl.
Can you go around the applause for the police force just before you go?
Sure. But you're gonna have to speak your name and address, man, because you're still gonna public meeting. I'm just kidding. The Shade Tree Commission, I'm sure Council President DeNoble is gonna have a good report about the Shade Tree Commission. So I'll leave it till then. Good, no meeting, okay, good. So I knew I was.
Plenty of stuff to cover, so.
There is a tree planting coming up. We're going with May 4th,
Yes.
May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Okay, all right. And the fire and first aid reports are gonna be on a monthly basis starting in March. So that's essentially my council report. I do want to say that the BBVCA event at UBA's was great. It was great to see our fire department members, first aid members, police department members, all in the same room, having a good time. There was no disaster. They weren't all in the same place because something terrible happened. And it was good to just sort of be there with everybody. So it was a great BBVCA event. It was a great idea. I hope they do it every year. I hope more people can attend. And if that's the case, we're gonna need a bigger room. And that's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mahoney.
Okay. There's a lot of people in attendance tonight. I guess you're all not here to listen to us pass a resolution about mosquitoes, so.
Erica is.
I know Erica loves this one. Hello to our DPW members, I see you. And I know that you guys have been negotiating, and ladies have been negotiating for over a year for a contract. And while the residents and administration have had nothing but praise for your contribution and dedication to the town, here you are. Now, if you could only get the DPW, our hardworking dispatchers and other union members, a fair and amenable contract. The council and questioning residents still await the RFPs for 319 Lorraine. But these docs seem to be at a complete standstill. I had a meeting with the mayor and acting BA on November 15th and had been asked the parameters of what I would like to see happen to the church. At this meeting, where RFPs were mentioned, I made it very clear that I had no desire for the borough to get involved in the demolition business. And here we are, 3.5 months later, stalled with promised, and dare I say, unnecessary RFPs, nowhere in sight. With regard to the incident on Main Street, as Councilman Weber said, yes, our police department is made up of more than the chief. It's made up of great men and women of the police department. But this administration is made up of more than the mayor and the BA. It's made up of the men and women on this council. I was stunned to learn that this report came out such a long time ago. And I feel like we've been left in the dark. This community has been implored, our tight-knit community has been implored to turn a blind eye and improve itself in the wake of this scandal. Residents are left not only admonished for their outrage, but now forced again to pay for yet another administrative misstep. And finally, the Land Use Board met on February 15th. This was a revote of a previously denied application from November 16th. Here on February 15th, a majority approved a 2.5-story dwelling on an undersized lot with 7 variances. There were also 2 zoning determinations. One was denied and one was settled. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Gubertosi.
As many of you know, when I often make statements somewhat off the cuff, but when I need to make sure that my statement is recorded for posterity in borough minutes, I tend to write them out and read them. So bear with me as I try to address a number of issues, some challenging and some hopefully good. At the mayor's request, a few meetings ago, the council agreed to move council comments to the beginning of our meetings. I've expressed my reservations to the mayor because there are times in which the council may wish to comment on the agenda. For example, the bill list, resolutions, ordinance amendments. And it's difficult to do so in advance of the issues being shared with the public. Tonight is an example of this challenge because there are a handful of items that I must address, which normally might be better suited for the end of the meeting. Number one, it is my pleasure to be the liaison to our police department. And Detective Lieutenant Browning consistently provides me with a police update. The update for this meeting is that the police responded to a severely intoxicated subject causing a disturbance in a local Main Street business. He was cited for public nuisance and given a formal trespass notice by the store. A local subject was arrested for invasion of privacy stemming from an incident involving sexual photos. I'd like to comment now about the budget, the borough's budget, and the timing for the delivery to the council. I want people to know that the delivery of the budget to the council is late again. This is the 3rd consecutive year, and I'll continue, the 3rd consecutive year that the council must wait beyond stated timeframes for transmission of the budget. At our January 24th meeting, this council passed a resolution extending the timeframe for the transition of the budget to the council from January 27th to February 27th, 1 month. The administration promised that this would serve as a deadline and that they would try to provide some or all of the budget in advance of this new deadline. 2 weeks ago, at our last meeting on February 14th, I mentioned that I was still hopeful that the budget would be transmitted to the council on or before February 27th. Today is now February 28th, and no budget has been transmitted to the council. The 2022 audit report continues to be delayed, and I am hopeful that this will not contribute to further delays in the budget transmission to the council. I'd like to now briefly talk about very preliminary audit findings. As I just mentioned, the 2022 audit is running late, very late. I was able to join an audit status meeting with our CFO, the mayor, and the BA on February 21st. It is too early to release any of the audit's results, no numbers. However, the primary message delivered to us by our auditor, Mr. Olawa, is that the audit data for 2022 fiscal year that was delivered to our auditor is a mess. He stated that this was not the case during his prior audit of 2021 data, so controls somehow failed significantly in 2022. There has been an incredible amount of work completed by Mr. Olawa's team in correcting the borough's reported 2022 data. And I know that our new CFO, Mr. Gartz, is working closely with our auditor in this cleanup process. This is contributing to his delay in presenting the final report. I'd like to give everyone a quick update on our fallen heroes efforts. In the last council meeting, we presented a plan to improve the borough's recognition of our Bradley Beach fallen heroes, men and women affiliated with Bradley Beach who died in wartime. This plan will include centralizing our monuments in Riley Park, adding light pole banners for each of the borough's 20 fallen heroes, and publishing a brochure with bios of our fallen heroes. As the council representative on this project, I am trying to figure out the best way to expedite public financing of this project. The deadline is very tight. We hope to raise $12,000 next month in March. So in order to do that, we can initiate necessary purchases and be prepared for our Memorial Day ceremonies on May 27th. May 27th, as most of you can calculate, is just 2 months away. We will begin to solicit private donations within the next week. I won't be knocking on anyone's doors, but we will be getting communication out requesting donations for anyone who's interested. Another item I need to address, and it's been briefly touched on by Ms. Mahoney, is the 319 Lorraine RFPs. Many residents continue to ask me about the status of the sale of the 319 Lorraine Church property. As recently as last week, I was told by Council President DeNoble, sitting to my left, that the administration has not yet started developing RFPs and that they have not yet secured approval for subdivisions requested by the council. Very little information has been disseminated by the administration to the council. Before we move too far forward in a direction that I do not support, I want to state my preferences clearly for the record. Number one, I completely support the development and approval of council-approved subdivisions for this property. Number two, I will need a council-approved requirements document to detail the borough's demands for an acquiring developer. I say council-approved because it must not be generated in a vacuum by the QPA or by the administration without council review and approval. Number three, I am not in favor of the borough assuming responsibility for demolition. It would expose the borough to financial risks of poor project management and broader liabilities tied to the environmentally sound removal of any hazardous materials. I made this very clear in our council meeting of October 25th, 2023, but I wanted to state it again tonight for the record. And finally, my clear and stated preference has been to hold a public auction with minimum bids identified, not RFPs. Although I'm told by the Council President DeNoble that RFPs have not yet been developed, I want to make sure that the public knows my preferred approach now so that there will be less confusion later. I do want to recognize the men and women of our DPW who have joined us tonight. I see that we have a pretty good turnout and attendance, and I imagine one or more of you may even have comments later. But I want to welcome everyone here. I want to take the opportunity, at least for me, to say it is critical to see the borough and your union, Local 152, come to a fair bargaining agreement for all. I know very little about the process today, but I can say that it is taking far too long to resolve. On behalf of many residents, including the people sitting here on the council, and for all those whose snow you plow, whose beach you manicure, and whose trash you remove, I want to say we appreciate your commitment to our residents, and we thank you for your passion and your hard work in support of the borough. Now, finally, I'd like to make a statement about the Main Street incident that many of you are here for tonight, involving our police department. Bradley Beach is a wonderful town, and it simply does not deserve this international black eye. We need to replace raw emotions and anger with logic and cooperation. The people I have the greatest respect for are the brave men and women in our Bradley Beach Police Department. They continue to do their jobs, protect the public, put their lives at risk, all while surrounded by this intense media scrutiny. It's unfortunate that Mayor Fox has kept this investigation shielded from our Borough Attorney, Mr. Cannon, and from the Borough Council. I believe the mayor acted illegally in doing so, ignoring our ordinances that authorize council involvement in any police investigation. I don't understand the mayor's motives, although I will say that in our executive session, he did share them for the first time. But his unilateral actions have only contributed to this media frenzy. And finally, given Mayor Fox's total disregard for the authority of this council, I'd like to make a motion for a vote of no confidence in our mayor's ability to perform his duties. Is there a second?
Second,
Ms. DeNoble,
yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Fox.
No. Thank you. Council President Dinold.
I just want to follow up with what Councilman Gubertosi said and reiterate, this has been a distressing time for the entire borough. And we all need to work together now twice as hard to put the pieces back together. And we want to create a Bradley Beach that's better for our residents, for our employees, for our friends, for our visitors. And I'm up to that challenge, along with the support of my fellow council members. And I hope that the healing process can begin and our police department can now successfully move forward under new leadership. How about some good news? The Board of Ed had a meeting February 20th, and they had the recipients of the second marking period high honor roll, which included Molly Flynn, Calvin Barron, Anna Marie Demetrian, Brian Hoff, Kaylee Kremen, Dean Lola, Nora Weber, John Weber's daughter, Jean-Pierre Arias Alpate, and Jordan De Jesus. Congratulations. They also had the Teacher of the Year awards, and one went to the Educational Services Professional of the Year was, drum roll please, Amanda Silverstein, a distinguished elementary and special education teacher at Bradley Beach Elementary, has been awarded the Bradley Beach Elementary Schools Governor's Teacher of the Year Award in recognition of her innovative teaching methods and leadership in education. Also, Donna Taylor, serving as a paraprofessional in Bradley Beach Elementary for 5 years, was selected as Bradley Beach's Educational Services Professional of the Year due to her ability to implement individualized education plans with precision and care. Her efforts have greatly enhanced the academic performance and emotional well-being of the students, as well as creating a supportive and inclusive school environment. Congratulations to both of them. And I want to add, the recently created Bradley Beach Education Foundation is excited to announce their very first high school scholarship. To apply, you must be a graduating high school senior who graduated from Bradley Beach Elementary School and is a current resident of the borough. The application can be found on the foundation's website at www.bradleybeachedfund.org, or you can pick up a copy at the Bradley Beach Library. Also, mark your calendar. The PTA is having their gift auction luncheon April 14th at 3 p.m. at the Ascension Center of St. Teresa's. We did not have a shade tree meeting, but the planting is coming up. And just real quick with tourism, the 6th annual Bradley Beach Shamrock Hunt runs from March 11th to March 17th. Find a golden painted rock around town, email the tourism director, and you'll win a prize from one of the Bradley Beach's awesome businesses. The rocks can be found anywhere, the beachfront, Main Street, by the lake, side streets, you name it. The Tourism Commission wants you to make a day out of your searching for, by grabbing a coffee, lunch or breakfast, or just stopping in any of the shops to see what's new. And also on April 21st, Sunday, from 11 to 4, the 4th annual Earth Day Festival and Green Fair will be held in Riley Park. And the summer is shaping up nicely with events on the beachfront and Riley Park. And one more note. The Women's History Month celebration is honoring our very own tourism director, Amy Hall, for outstanding community leadership. It will be celebrated at Pollard Gallery in Asbury Park on March 14th at 6:30. It'll be hosted by Assemblywomen Donlin and Peter Paul and Senator Vin Gopal. Congratulations, Amy Hall. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I have a couple comments. I'll start with some positives. First, we have completed the phase one reoccupancy of the Biazi building. I think everybody's seeing the building as better than ever. We have community development, Meals on Wheels, and our senior club, which actually had a meeting there today. We are continuing to work with the Historical Society on plans, both interim and long-term. Relative to the library and recreation, I'd ask you to check the website for them. The other big news that I really want to cover before I'll comment on some of the comments relative to the incident on Main Street, I guess we're going to call it. One of the key objectives we had in 2023 was around infrastructure. And that objective was around continued improvements to the beachfront, including a coastal resilience assessment with a view towards extending our bulkhead south. For those who don't know, our bulkhead ends on 3rd Avenue. For those who don't live south of 3rd Avenue, in 2012, Superstorm Sandy did a significant amount of damage to those homes from 3rd Avenue west and south. Governor Murphy last fall announced a boardwalk preservation fund as part of his 2024 budget. We went to work and developed a grant application. We already had some things laid out, and we were able to interface with the governor's office in that it was looking more at retail boardwalk, and we talked and made a strong case for coastal resilience. So last week, we were able to, I'm pleased to report, we received a $4,275,000 amount from that grant, or from that total fund of $100 million. The big players, Asbury Park, Atlantic City, received 20 million, and then there were a few below that. But given the size of our town, I think that we fared very well. I want to thank our borough administrator and our borough engineer. They put a lot of work into this, and I think you'll see the renderings around coming up, but we got a lot of work to do now. So we're very happy about that. So I'll address maybe in more detail that I shared with the council earlier this week on this process that we went through. And I'll just kind of read it because I also want to get into the record. So I'll start with, I was first made aware of the November 9th incident the morning of November 10th. I was made aware of that by Chief Guida. He met with me, described the incident, and stated that Lieutenant Browning was involved in the internal investigation and that the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office would be involved because it dealt with a chief or a head of a police group. A week later, I met with the assistant prosecutor, two of her associates, and the business administrator to review the incident. That's the first opportunity I had to review the video. The assistant prosecutor recommended that the chief take vacation time until the investigation was completed, that she thought would be done in December, which it wasn't. We made the decision to go the route of administrative leave. And why did we do that? Well, we thought it was more appropriate in that administrative leave basically says you're not performing any police duties. Vacation, accrued vacation time, you're still a part of the department and can operate within the department. Administrative leaves more stringent and more defined. So at the time, and I still believe the case, the assistant prosecutor appreciated the action we were taking. I met with Chief Guida that afternoon and communicated that direction. I also sent an email to the council letting them know that this was taking place that day. And I'll say I am grateful to the prosecutor's office for their professionalism and the experience that guided the investigation. So again, I thought we'd receive this report in mid-December. It wasn't delivered until the latter part of January. That report, it's called the Summary and Conclusions Report, is a series, from there, a series of meetings ensued. So a report doesn't mean you're done. A report means, okay, this is the findings, this is the conclusions. From there, there were a number of phone calls or a number of meetings with the prosecutor's office, with our labor attorney, with our police captain, with Chief Guida and his counsel, the borough administrator, myself. There are a number of steps that were taken to get to ensure that is this conclusion appropriate and are we all aligned? So we came to that conclusion just recently. The conclusion section of the prosecutor's report as it relates to disciplinary action, basically, I'll read it because it will be out shortly. Pursuant to section 5.1.8 of the IAPP, this office may make a disciplinary recommendation with respect to the above findings. In our investigating, the Chief Guida, it is our understanding, that Chief Guida will be retiring March 1st, 2024, and they'll be using accumulated leave time through this date of retirement. Given these circumstances, which presupposes that Chief Guida does not return to Bradley Beach Police Department in any capacity, we do not make a disciplinary recommendation. So that I won't go into the whole report, but I will say that the chief is retiring as of March 1st, this Friday. That's a full 7 months before that's anticipated. So if you look at the accumulated vacation time since January 1st, he's been using accumulated vacation time, although he's still in a state of administrative leave. He's not interfacing with the department. Between those two, the vacation time and the 7 months, it's a fairly significant shift in his income and revenue for this period of time, a very significant amount. Clearly, this whole series of events is unfortunate for the individuals involved in our community. I'm hoping we can move through this. I am grateful to the prosecutor, Santiago, and his assistant prosecutor, Falco, along with the other people in the Monmouth County Police Prosecutor's Office that worked through the series of events and issues. Our labor attorney also, and Mr. Marco and Captain Arnold. So a couple comments were made about this being an international incident and it being all over the internet. We could have gotten a report on January 1st and the same thing would have happened. This was an Oprah video of body cam. Anybody can Oprah body cam. It gets reviewed. There's redactions done on it, but that happened. That's going to happen no matter what. So the idea that something could have changed relative to that, it's not going to happen. It's just a process that is there. I mean, as Erica is nodding her head, she's the Oprah person here. There's also been some questions about, well, why didn't we suspend or why didn't we do some things without pay? There is a due process element to this. I think once we put the chief on administrative leave, he did exactly what we asked him to do. We did the investigation. I will say that this is my first investigation in an area like this. And we took the lead of the Monmouth County's prosecutor's office, as we should have. Anytime it's a investigation of a police chief or a head of a police group, they take the lead, and they took the lead from basically end to end, which I do very much appreciate. So this idea that this was concluded a month ago and we've been just sitting on this is not the case. We've just concluded, and last week, actually, at middle of the week, the conversation began and initiated by the prosecutor's office about what would be released and how it would be released, whether it's a full report or redacted report. And that we actually just received a memo from the prosecutor probably 2 hours ago, defining that and delineating that a little bit better. So, that conversation took place middle of last week to the end of this week, end of last week. The information I got, and again, the confidentiality of this, even in the memo we just got from the prosecutor, really stresses confidentiality and not discerning any of these reports, for obvious reasons. There's people who know from the book that they don't want to have being questioned or to go any further with. So that's where it is. I know everybody's emotional about this. I can understand it. I'm not happy about it either. Do I think we took the right steps in a timely manner? I think we did. People might not agree with that or might not like it, but I appreciate the fact that Lieutenant Browning, I think the night of, and then the next day, took the action that you're designated to take and did it appropriately and did his duty. And I very much appreciate that. I appreciate Captain Arnold, who has worked with the department along with lieutenants and kept things on an even keel with the community. I think we've continued to have a safe community, and I do very much appreciate that. As this concludes, I don't know how if it will conclude in the short term, because there are, I just can't predict that. So at this point, that's my statement, and we will go to the next agenda item, which is presentations and bids. We have no presentations, but we do have 2 proclamations. And I'll start with Councilwoman Mahoney, if you could read appropriately one of those proclamations.
Thank you, that. Borough of Bradley Beach International Women's Day Proclamation.
Sorry, please.
Thanks. Whereas International Women's Day is celebrated globally on March 8th by those who believe in gender equality and who seek to improve the lives of all women through cultural, legal, economic, and social change. And whereas International Women's Day celebrates the collective power of women, pays tribute to their achievements, and recognizes the remaining challenges to further efforts for women's rights and gender equality, encouraging and mobilizing all people to contribute for positive change. And whereas the Borough of Bradley Beach honors the accomplished and visionary women who have helped build our country, including those whose contributions have not been adequately recognized and celebrated. And whereas the Borough of Bradley Beach pays tribute to the trailblazers from the recent and distant past for daring to envision a future for which no past precedent existed, and for building a nation of endless possibility for all its women. And whereas currently there are women serving locally in leadership positions, inspiring the continued work in advancing the rights, opportunities, and full participation of women and girls of all backgrounds. And whereas on the 111th International Women's Day, we celebrate and encourage everyone to take actions against gender bias and inequality. And whereas while International Women's Day actively escalates for March 8th, prime employers for women maintain a deep and continuous focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion all year round. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Borough of Bradley Beach that March 8th, 2024 should be celebrated as International Women's Day in appreciation of the many achievements of the women of Bradley Beach and those across this nation and the world. Invest in women, accelerate the progress. Dated this 28th day of February, 2024.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We have a second proclamation, Women's History Month.
Women's History Month. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played and continue to play critical economical, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. Whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation. Whereas American women were important in the establishment of early charitable and cultural institutions in our nation. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. Whereas American women have served our country courageously in the military. Whereas American women have been leaders, not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the Borough of Bradley Beach that March is designated as Women's History Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item number 9, approval of minutes, February 14th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve minutes of February 14th, 2024?
Second,
Ms. Noble?
yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Fox?
Yes, thank you. Okay, public comments pertaining to the 228 agenda items only, a 5-minute limit and single instance, and you can line up in the front row if you'd like here. Any questions on the agenda? No questions on agenda?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Shakira, 112 Fourth Avenue. Before I begin, I want to apologize to John Weber for not being recognized by the mayor for not giving you the credit that you duly deserve for the Boardwalk renovation. And I would urge everyone to go into Bradley Beach community and read John Weber's explanation of what he personally has done to get that program, that project going. And, excuse me, I'm just a little upset about all this. The acting DA has only been here 4 months. This is been how many years, John?
It's been an idea for a long time, so.
I think that's 17.
You can't say I lifted a finger,
But
other people did.
But I want to ask somebody who's, I remember when I first met you, you talked about this as one of your goals for our town, and it was finally achieved. And I know you spoke about it quite frequently, and I find it very upsetting that the mayor could not give you any type of credit. Okay, now my question to you is about the bill list. Does this bill list represent the full month bills?
Not necessarily.
But for the month of February, because as we all know, I like to look at the bill list, and I'm very familiar with the bill list. And this bill list was 25 pages, which is a normal 2-week bill list. When we have bill lists, every 2 weeks, normally, this is the first time we're getting for a monthly. This is basically an incomplete bill list. There are no mentions of any medical payments for Medicare, vision payments, no bills from Mr. Cannon's office, no T&M postings. I mean, these are regular.
T&M.
T&M.
We're not working with TNM anymore.
Yes, there is vision on here.
One, but where is the long list of Medicare payments for retirees? That's been on there regularly. All right, I'm making that a point. This, I would have expected a 50-page bill list for it to be for the month of February. Okay. Let me get back to the bill list. And this is all about driving Miss Daisy. On page 8, there is a bill for $3,500 for Concept Professional Systems sound videos. And it came from the account of At the Beach. Page 14, Monmouth University, a video shoot driving Miss Daisy coming out of the account of Arts at the Beach for $1,600. Page 15. There was a payment to Nora Monahan for sign promotional materials for $350. The total bill for that event was $6,193.75. Now, my question is the art at the beach a different budget line item than the Arts Council?
It's the same.
Pardon me,
It's the Arts Council.
are there two accounts or one?
I think there's one account, is that correct?
Could you please clarify that for me?
I can double check that, I
Yeah.
believe there's one
Yeah.
sub-account for.
And they have a budget, they have an annual budget.
What is their annual
I
budget?
think it's $15,000.
Okay. Was there an admission fee to attend the play?
No, there never is.
Okay, were the actors paid or were they volunteers?
They're paid, but I would call it, I don't want to say it's marginal, but it's not a significant amount.
Do you know how many actors were?
There were two. Three?
Okay, well, I know from King Lear, the payment is generally $350 to $450. I mean, if it's.
So that's probably, I don't want to minimize but it's not thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
No actors' names appeared on this bill list, so therefore these bills will be coming forward.
They may have
Some
been-
do appear on the bills, Ms. Ma'am.
Where?
On the first page, the manual checks.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay.
And how much was that for?
This particular actor was for $650.
Okay, so we can add that to 600. So it's $6,800 so far for, the, Jiving Miss Daisy. Okay, that's my concern about driving the state. Jersey
Thank you.
Shore.
We're-
Oh, okay, well then
We're
I'm
pressed
gonna
for
give
time.
you my list.
You can actually email and ask questions.
Well, I'm gonna give you a copy of it now.
Moving forward, you can always leave them to the clerk to distribute as well.
I have one for her too as well.
Yes. Yes.
Did everyone receive your sheet? I'm gonna read- I don't have one for her.
No, you go ahead, start. You can start.
Careful. I think your phone was here when you're. Oh, good. Thanks.
Erica.
Yep.
Pete McGuire, 610 Brindley Ave. I am frankly pissed off that we've had meetings here and we've had residents stand up here and ask questions about this investigation
I'm
that's
sorry.
going on.
This is, you have questions about the agenda. Who knows
Council
that?
comments are on the agenda and this came up during council comments.
No.
So, and you know what? It was pretty obvious that that's what was spoken about in executive session, which was also on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda. I'm sorry.
It is on the agenda. It is. So, we had residents stand up here and ask questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It
And
says-
we've been lied to.
I'm sorry, it says agenda items only.
Yeah, council comments are agenda items, and I'm responding to council comments, which are agenda items. I'd appreciate no more interruptions, please. So, I want to ask Mr. Cannon, were we lied to? Was this appropriately handled? Were we told the proper information over the last few meetings? I feel like we had residents stand up here in particularly asking about this situation. And we were told no comment because it's under investigation. And now we're hearing it was concluded. It was not concluded disciplinary action, but it was concluded through the prosecutor's office. So administrative questions were asked, no answers given. I believe the council is part of the disciplinary action. Did that take place? Did that take place? It seems like the council was left in the dark according to the media. Were you left in the dark? Do you know anything? Did you protect our council for being part of this? Like, what is happening in this borough?
We have no answers. And when we call on our elected council, they don't have answers for us. So we are clearly under dictatorship. For the 20th time I've said it up here. We can't get answers to anything. We pay taxes, we live here day to day, and we don't get answers to anything. So can you clarify anything here for us? Did the council weigh in on disciplinary action? And are they supposed to?
So that question is specifically is being determined by the labor attorney. As to you coming up here and asking what's going on with the investigation every time, I did tell you last time that we didn't have any information, or I did not. I was not aware that we had received the report in January. At that time, I was not aware.
You're, as borough attorney, are you supposed to get that? Like, is that proper protocol?
I believe so, and the mayor and I have discussed that.
So now our own borough attorney who's supposed to protect this borough is left in the dark, is that right? You were left in the dark for this too, with the
The
council?
person handling it was the labor attorney.
Yeah, okay.
The labor attorney was handling.
Oh, the labor attorney who has stalled my case in court, which has been 3 weeks now since the court told me it was supposed to be done. Okay. So the labor attorney is not our borough attorney, correct? So I would imagine, okay, if the labor attorney weighs in on this, it should be along with our borough attorney to protect this town from the 20,000 lawsuits we constantly have. Like, what is happening? Mayor, you have built an alliance. You have Meredith, you have Kim, you have Greg Fehrenbach, a volunteer BA. While we're still paying a full-time BA salary, doing your developer deals here. Like, where's the church
Could you
RFPs?
take your tone down, please?
Sorry, where are the church RFPs? So another thing that was discussed during council comments, we have asked repeatedly for church RFPs, and now we're hearing there's still nothing, nothing. Campaign season, you seem to be really anxious about the church. Right? We paid a lot of money to have a survey for $10 million spent on the church. Became the biggest division in this town. You destroyed the town, dividing us over that property. And now we still have nothing. We finally came to some type of conclusion that you seemed really happy about with the council back in the fall. And now it's stalled because you and Meredith have RFPs you're not willing to give us any information about. When is something changing here? When? Election time? I feel like that's it. I hope and pray that you are out by November so that your developers get nothing.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Thomas J. Cowan, 612 Third Avenue. I had a question on the rebid for the mini golf course. What is the minimum bid threshold on that?
No.
I can find out for you real in a minute if you want to continue on.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I just have one more thing, Mr. Cannon. I'll try to go quickly. I know we have time limits on the agenda now. On the bills list on page 7, there's a line item for Clark, Canton, and Hines in the amount of $1,567, and it's posted here as Fair Share Housing Council.
Correct. So as discussed in previous meetings, they're our special master. So that's the sub-account name for Fair Share Housing.
They're an architectural firm.
Correct, but they're the special master.
They're the
for
special
Fair
master.
Share.
So, okay, thank you. I just wanted to confirm. So Ron Cuchero from the Wiener Law Group is still our Fair Share Housing attorney.
Attorney, correct.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes, sir.
the minimum bid is $50,000. The last rent in the expiring lease was $47,702.
Great. Is
So
the
we can get
proposal a 5-year or a 10-year lease?
10 years.
Can you? Thank you, Mr. Kent. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Nancy Meadow, Ocean Park condominiums. I'll address what I prefer to call litigate later in my personal comments. I don't know why we're sweeping that under the rug in the euphemism. But I would like to look at page 22 of the bill list.
we're spending shy, I don't wanna exaggerate, a little less than $7,000 on those calendars that have more incorrect information than I can imagine. Because here's another one. It's not daylight savings time. I'm very sensitive about S's, as everyone here knows. It is daylight saving time. So once again, wrong information, sloppy work, and we all know where that emanates from. In addition, when I come up here repeatedly and say, you are the stewards of our money. $7,000 on that? Really? Couldn't we save it and use it for something else? Like legal fees? And then right under it. $333 a month for that horrendous website. Really? Why are we paying for it? Why can't we have our old website back and just correct the information that was on it? You do not steward our money. And when are you going to start? And then if you look at the bill list, well, here's the bookkeeper and me. Mr. Bubatowski, maybe you will understand when my brain is at, maybe not. So it lists bills. How do I know they're being paid? Who signs for them? Who prints them? And who does the bank reconciliation? Unfortunately, this administration has promoted distrust. And I quite honestly do not have any faith that these bills are paid in the way they're supposed to be, that all bills are paid in the correct manner. There are certain bills you chose not to approve. I wonder, are they still hanging out there, or did they just kind of get slipped through? Because again, there is no trust. And I beg the 4 council people to do what they can, because we cannot obviously have procedures. We're not capable of that. And I say it at every meeting, legislate, legislate, legislate. As it should be that the people that are employed by this borough and or get stipends from this borough are announced at the beginning of every meeting for the people here and the people on Zoom. How many years did it take me that I have to say that? And you all know that I'm a squeaky wheel. And eventually you realize that what I'm saying is a little bit of common sense and a little bit of respect. And this should have nothing to do with the abundance of lawsuits that are going on. You can still legislate. And why is it a secret as to who is here? Why is it a secret to all the legal representatives that are here right now? Why can't the Zoom people know all of this? It's just goes on and on and on. And I guess I could ask a few other bill questions if you want to give them to me. But I'm just exhausted by the bill list, by the lack of accountability, by the waste of spending. Why you think you have the right to spend this is beyond me. And if I were you, like I tell public works, go on strike, stop approving bill lists.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, Linda Duffy, 312 Brindley. I have 2 questions on the bill list. The first one occurs on page 15. Who is Rangone, Coughlin, and Nicholo, LLC, conflict resolution, like what conflict?
They're
They're-
a conflict
They're a
attorney.
conflict attorney.
And what do they cover?
They do work for us.
Obviously, but
Well,
what?
it's like a situation where, Mr. Cannon isn't the most
I mean, look,
appropriate.
that bill is related to, labor attorney services
Okay.
for an employee issue that.
All right, that's all I want to know. Okay, so my other question is on page 9. I'm assuming Bernstein is one of our labor attorneys.
And over attorney.
Right, so, all right, we paid him. Oh, all right, so this is the question. Arts Council, Arts at the Beach, were the same fund, correct?
I'm gonna double check and clarify that, but I
Yeah,
believe it's
so
done.
I had added up all the monies so far that I could find on all the bills lists for how much money we spend on labor attorneys for negotiations. It's almost $17,000. It's like wasted money. You can't come to an agreement on a contract. These guys deserve a contract. So what is the holdup? It needs to be accomplished. We're only gonna owe more money in the rears because of back pay and benefits. It needs to be done.
It's not fair and certainly not fair to the residents here of this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no other questions? Nothing on the board? Okay, we'll go to the next agenda item, which is,
Nancy,
the.
if other people from other screens have questions to ask, it'll automatically get transferred to the first one.
Yep. So there's no ordinances for tonight. There's no communications in tonight's, agenda. We have a few resolutions. First resolution, is consent agenda, which is, 3 items, which is the bill list for February 28th, 2024. That's 2024-50. 2024-51 is approval of 50/50 on premises raffle license for the Friends of the Bradley Beach Library for Sunday, April 28th, 2024, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Make a motion to approve the 50/50 on premise raffle.
Second. Ms. DeNoble. Yes. Mr. Gubatose.
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Fox.
Yes. And then, oh, I'm sorry, this should have been part of the consent agenda. We should just got all 3 and then, well, so if we just approve the consent agenda,
No, we just approved that one because that's what was read. So
yeah, so we should.
Yeah, motion to approve the
Yeah,
consent
somebody
agenda.
jumped in and, yes, okay, so it's the bill list, the 50/50, and then the approval.
Correct.
Advertising the bid, so make a motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
Second. Ms. DeNoble. Yes. Mr. Gubatose.
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
yes.
Mayor Fox.
Yes,
Thank you.
now we go to individual resolutions, 2024-53. This is the Eric Costas Memorial Resolution. Authorizes the County of Monmouth Mosquito Control Division to conduct aerial mosquito control operations within the borough of Bradley Beach. Make a motion to approve 2024.
Kind of joke, everybody. Sorry. Second. Ms. DeNoble. Yes. Mr. Gubatose.
This is one of my favorite resolutions as well, and I will vote yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
I just have to comment, just so people don't think that they're just willy-nilly spraying pesticides out of the air. This is. We're authorizing them in case there is a problem, they don't have to wait for us to, so we do it now before mosquito season, so I'll vote yes.
Thank you. I was waiting for someone to do that. Mayor Fox.
Yes. I'm gonna make a motion to table 2024-54, which is the approval to apply for a grant from New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approximately $100,000 for improvement to the Bradley Beach Recreation Center. The reason I'm asking to table that is the time frame of submitting that grant was extended, and it gives us a little bit more time to refine the grant. So I'll make a motion to table 2024-54.
Well, Mayor, quick-
Go ahead.
just a question on this. If we were to approve it tonight, can does that matter if we still have extended time?
So I think this is a little bit of, my nervousness, because if the grant were to change, the parameters between now and April 16th, then I would want to do another resolution so that you guys actually knew what you were approving. So this is out of an abundance of caution.
Thank you.
So
I'll second.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, John.
You can second, go ahead.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble.
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose.
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Fox.
yes. Okay, we'll go to, there are no announcements, so we'll go to public comments by minute limit and single instance to the comment. Why don't you go first?
Yes, sir. How you doing? Good evening, Mayor, Board. My name is Daniel Ross, Executive Assistant to President of the United Commercial Workers Local 152. Our local represents approximately 13,000 members, portion which are dedicated clerical, court, dispatch, and public works employees here to employ the borough. These hardworking men and women have been working without a contract since January 1st, 23. Our local, over the years, have had a very respectful, proficient working relationship with the borough. Sadly, has not been our case for the last 14 months. All right, these employees have gone without any wage increases. The borough has demanded through their outside counsel to gut their current public collective bargaining agreement. Among things, eliminating their salary guide, eliminating the components such as longevity, personal days, and other long service, and offering a measly increase of 1.3% on average for long-term employees, along with other concessionary issues. Anybody who's ever been a part of labor negotiations, though, they're kind of a starting point, right? Starter point, and then the parties kind of quickly work through that. However, that hasn't been the case. your outside counsel through the borough has bargained your employees to impasse, causing a PERC mediator to be appointed. These folks concluded their third day of mediation on Monday, where the borough gave an employee, for lack of a better word, to take or leave a proposal with many wage and benefit concessions. According to documentation produced through an open request, the borough's outside counsel has billed nearly $25,000 for these negotiations. These taxpayer funds would be better spent on borough employees. This union here negotiates hundreds of labor agreements on behalf of our members and finds the borough's actions disrespectful to the hardworking employees and in bad faith. This is unacceptable. Your employees deserve better. So that's a statement that I had drafted, so I'll just flip it.
You could submit it.
Yeah. Fine. What's been going on is wrong. You know, the best way I can explain this to you is I've been involved in a lot of different collective bargaining negotiations over the years. I've worked for this local union for 24 years. This is a process that should work in an orderly fashion. All right, and for whatever reason, I don't know, I don't envy anybody's position that's up there right now. I understand you guys have a lot of issues going on up here, but these folks right here and over here, they deserve better. They deserve a fair contract. Their families deserve wage increase, take care. And whatever the process, why it's broken, why it isn't, we gotta move forward, because sitting there dealing with outside counsel and billable hours, trying to gut a collective bargaining agreement that has been existing here for a long time, doesn't work. You know, in the past, dealing with the previous mayor council here, the mayor would be involved, they'd have members of council. And we'd sit there and we'd work through the issues. I did the previous collective bargaining agreement. We did it in 3 sessions and we were done. These folks 100% unanimously accepted their contract. It was a smooth, seamless process. I don't know what's going on, but we gotta fix it. I need you guys to have. You guys have to help.
I have a question.
Yes.
Who are you negotiating with?
So at the table has been Bernstein, I hate to use the name, the outside counsel. And there's some gentleman, I forget, there's a, it's like you guys, for whatever reason, you guys can switch a whole lot right now. And none of you guys have been around.
No, the
You guys
borough,
have had a lot of, there was a female there last time, right? Yes.
That would be me.
I'm sorry, I haven't been there. I came to the first session. I came to the first session.
Greg Zaranov, are you saying?
He was before that, he's still there.
Okay, and,
I came to the first session.
I'm sorry.
okay,
Started with kids.
and who's from the council has been there?
Nobody.
I'm sorry. We're not asking.
No, that's all right.
not supposed to.
Here. Yeah, so nobody on the council's been here, and I'll be honest, I came to the first session and helped assisted, and the first session we showed. Put up there was 6 pages of concessionary proposals put across the table, and I laughed at it, this is ridiculous.
What can we do to help?
We need you guys to get involved, we need you to talk to the mayor, we need to get to the table, these folks did not come in asking for anything crazy. You guys all know what your police department got, all these people want to do is be treated with respect, they want to maintain what they have, and they want to get fair, effective wage increases. It's what they deserve. They work hard. You guys sat here, I've heard before up here about how much you care about public works, about how much they did, I know how much money they saved this township because they go above and beyond. We need your help. We need your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me for 1 second. I also have a follow-up question. You said you need our help, talk to the mayor. I'll speak for myself. I've tried to broach this topic a number of times with our administration, not just the mayor, with a broader group of people. And we've been told the rest of this council cannot participate. I was under the impression the mayor was participating. He just mentioned that the council's not allowed to participate. I don't know collective bargaining law, but that sounds odd to me, given that the council, the governing body, has got to approve any final contract that's negotiated. Why would we not, we, the council, at least 1 or 2 representatives from the council, why would we not be allowed to participate in that process?
I don't know, I can tell you, I can tell you this much, I've done any public sector negotiation I've done in the back, it's always been somebody from mayor or council or something sitting down at the table.
My understanding is the last contract that was done, Dave Brown did, who was a borough administrator, and
Yes.
he did that singularly. Who else was there?
So, in all fairness, I was, yeah, and I would also say, in all fairness, little different time. Also, we had to finish up because we had COVID situations were going on and stuff like that. But these folks were like, what were involved with them.
Yeah.
But David was there. He was a gentleman to deal with. He moved through it very fast.
Mayor Engelstad,
Yeah.
previous mayor, has told me he also was an active participant. Oh,
Yeah.
Mayor
Yeah.
Engelstad, I didn't see you.
He
back
sat
there.
here, he sat here at this very table with me when we did the last contract. First thing we got to do. So I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is internally, it ain't working.
No,
These folks deserve better.
amen.
So maybe my suggestion, if you could, maybe the mayor could find it himself, maybe find a couple people on council to sit down with it. I'm of the belief that, you know, you get outside council involved, it gets drug out. We will make it, from a union perspective, we will make it top priority to get here, sit down, whatever we need to do to work through a very fair contract and get these people.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
In case you don't know me, my name,
Yeah.
you're about to say your name, sorry, go ahead. I'm gonna shed some light. In case you don't know me, my name is Nicole Browning. I grew up in Bradley Beach. I graduated from Bradley Beach Grammar School, and I've been a part of the Bradley Beach Fire Department my whole life, serving as the first female fire chief back in 2008. I'm still very invested in Bradley Beach, so as I speak, I would like the respect of not being shouted at or being treated as if I don't matter. I have been a dispatcher for the Bradley Beach Police Department for 20 years. I love my job. Some would say too much. As the council may not know, dispatchers, court personnel, clerical, and DPW are still without a contract. Out of 12 meetings, the mayor's appointed team has offered nothing. 12 meetings, Mayor, and each meeting was worse than the last, whittling everything down until the contract was bare bones. Your labor attorney, Mr. Bernstein, berated me, as well as using humor that was unbecoming of a professional. When I explained other contracts that were recently settled and pointed out that the police received a 4% raise, I was met with, okay, I'll do better than that. And he's raised his hand in a 0 and stated, that's what you'll get. While she is not in our local unit, it should also be known that the borough clerk has been without a contract since 2020. We are on our 3rd borough administrator, and you still have Greg Fehrenbach negotiating with us. The chief of police was on administrative leave for the last 3 months, collecting $50,000, which is more than the starting salary of one full-time dispatcher for an entire year. For just another $10,000, you could have paid the yearly salary of 2 full-time dispatchers. Why is a man who has worked in a corporate environment disregarding his workforces? We didn't even ask for anything but a matching 4% raise and an increase for those in steps to help cover cost of living expenses, since they traditionally lose out on a percentage increase. There are 2 full-time dispatchers currently making only $900 every 2 weeks. I have lived in this town for most of my life. My father has lived here for almost 50 years and still does. I live, breathe, and love Bradley Beach. I'm requesting to be heard. I'm requesting to see me. The people of this town, I'm sure, want to see the employees they utilize get a paid fair wage. Our last meeting was a take it or leave it proposal. Your team is adversarial and exude the pleasantries of an angry mob. You have lawsuit after lawsuit, money that could go to us, but you choose to pay a labor attorney who this council no longer wanted and eat up our raises. At this point, it would have been cheaper to go with the 4%. So council, I implore you, as well as people, stand up for your employees. We feel the support. At this point, we need help. Mayor, council, I implore you once again to please settle this contract. We deserve better. I love this town and hope for her to shine once again. You guys don't even know and can't imagine what we've been going through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is James Doherty. I live at 217 Brindley Avenue in Bradley Beach. I have two questions for the police department. One, when are we going to send some units down to handle the speeders on Brindley Avenue? They drive down, Brindley Avenue 50, 60, 70 miles an hour daily. Don't see a unit there enforcing the speed laws. The next question for the police department is, has the police department ever sought out a alternate route candidate to fill the vacancy in the police department that's trained, where we don't have to backfill it with overtime with the personnel that we have?
Could you ask that question again? I'm sorry, I just didn't understand the beginning of what you said. I'm sorry.
Why haven't they recruited for their vacancy? Why haven't they recruited an alternate route candidate that's already trained, that's certified by the state, that's licensed to enforce the law? Why hasn't this police department sought and recruited a member of a graduating class to fill any vacancy in this town? Instead of hiring somebody off the street that we have to send to a police academy and incur all this overtime and salary and everything else. That's a question that should be answered by the police department. Is there a reason why they didn't do it? Terry?
I mean, so to answer your first question, we'll definitely make it priority to.
Thank you.
Really
That's for the safety of the people down there.
Speeding is traditionally a big problem, you know, in this town on a lot of these streets. And I know you don't see it, but we have officers there doing radar posts all the time, proactively looking. You know, we generally have two members, you know, per shift, and then whatever dispatcher, detectives or administrative staff as well. So when someone brings a problem to us, we make it a point to address it.
I'm bringing it to you.
But believe me, if I was to sit there every day when I was on the road, that was one of my hotspots where I would sit there actively writing tickets. And, you know, I could go off the road for 3 years and come
I'm not
back.
criticizing the
Never
police
stop.
department. I'm just saying that the
No, I know.
condition there is such that it warrants some enforcement.
Yeah, well, it's, Lieutenant Murray is our patrol lieutenant, so we'll have him, you know,
Very good.
Small do that. As for the hiring process, there is a defined hiring process that we go through, and all starts with accepting resumes. So we advertise, we do what we can when there's an opening, and all the time, we get trained police officers that want to do a lateral transfer, we get alternate route candidates, we get class 2 candidates.
How many alternate route candidates have you interviewed?
I couldn't tell you that, I don't want to give you the wrong information, I'll have that off the top of my head, but we have, you know, alternate route is something that was done many years ago, a little bit more
Still in
so than
effect.
now, I know it is. But you had a lot more alternate route, you know, 10 years ago. Nowadays.
And why?
there's
Because there's a lot of towns swooping them up as fast as they
Right,
can.
now, I don't know if you're talking about alternate routes or class 2, nowadays. there's a
No,
lot more
alternate
class
route.
2. I haven't seen a lot of alternate routes, you know, submit
There's
resumes.
21 counties, most of them have a police academy, and I inquire and I ask you to at least seek it out.
I can't.
Save this town some money, will you? So, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Pamela Valentine. I reside at 81 Mount Zion Way, Mission Road, and I'm employed by the Borough of Bradley Beach. Pamela Valentine, 81 Mount Zion Way, Mission Road, and I'm employed by the Borough of Bradley Beach as technical assistant in the construction department and office manager for community development. Our contract, as you know, expired in January of 2023. While the cost of basically everything from food to gas to healthcare to rents to car insurance, streaming services, and the occasional dinner out with family and friends, the basics of a normal life, have risen dramatically in this past year. Our salaries have not increased at all. We have not, in response, slacked off on our jobs. We continue every day to work under sometimes extremely stressful conditions to provide the best customer service experience possible to borough residents. Many of us work for our lunch breaks unrewarded and after hours without extra compensation. Not one employee present in this room is a bad employee. We are superheroes, actually. We keep this machine running. We're not asking to be made millionaires in this. We're asking to be made whole again in the face of rising costs. We're asking for appreciation commensurate with our efforts. We're asking to be treated with respect and to not be taken for granted. Kathy Engelbert, Commissioner of the WNBA, has said, when people are your greatest asset,
Investments in human capital should be considered in the same way other companies might invest significantly in product R&D. We are your greatest asset, and it is time that you invested in us.
Thanks, Ben. Yes.
Brigitte McGuire, 610 Brinley. I have a written statement this time, so I'll be a little bit less speaking. Okay. I'd like to publicly share that I have recently Oprah'd the COVID funds that we received in the past few years. After the FEMA reimbursement payment that we paid this past October from Hurricane Sandy, I was curious to see the records for the COVID funding. I was responded to with an email that stated, as per the finance department and the OEM department, the borough is not in possession of any responsive records for COVID relief funds. I did email the CFO several times and only received the same answer from Erica, thank you, stating the same answer from the CFO. I did ask for a confirmation from the CFO, Mr. Gartz, however, I did not get a response. Councilman Weber did respond to me that it's not called COVID funding, it's called the ARP, American Rescue Plan, which I was clearly aware of, but didn't think I needed to be so specific. So I have just recently sent in the same request, but for COVID funding under the American Rescue Plan. Let's see if I had to be that specific for the borough to understand what exactly I was asking for. For the record, I did find the funds online thanks to Councilwoman Mahoney. We received in total $434,165.16. We received it in 2 equal payments of $217,082.58. I'm happy to share the information on social media or on my blog once or if I receive it. I did ask for the information of where these funds were deposited as well. And clearly I didn't get that either, since again, I was told the borough has no responsive records of COVID relief funds. I am hoping that no one was pretending that they didn't understand what I was asking for just because I asked for COVID funding versus the American Rescue Plan. Next up, we recently all heard here at a meeting that the mayor is named in a harassment claim of tort. I recently Oprah'd that claim of tort, and it was just about fully and completely redacted. Even Larry Fox's name was redacted, although it was already publicly stated. This is not the first time I have received practically fully redacted documents from this borough, and my Oprah lawsuit is taking so long even after the court said it would have been done 3 weeks ago. I'm starting to begin to think that I'm being discriminated against for receiving information in this borough because I share a lot of it through a blog and on social media. Just wanted to put that on public record because I'm expecting to see at least where the $434,000 was deposited. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
It's gonna loop around.
You don't start yet. Where did the chairs go that you made us sit in 4 weeks ago?
Hey, that's a good question.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
rarely ask questions. I usually just make statements.
yes.
Nancy never comes in. I disagree. I do not believe that law enforcement does their job every day. How many meetings have I come up here and said, I'm tired of cars going the wrong way down my street. I'm tired of bicycles going the wrong way down my street. I'm not gonna get into the hiring process or this or that, but clearly it is my hope that we will start to have law enforcement. I also disagree with the comments made regarding the community code, et cetera, department, because I've been waiting for a phone call to be returned since December 15th. It involves my safety and my home. I make 1 to 3 phone calls every week. It is not returned by a person in that department.
For
So-
which department? I'm sorry.
community development.
Oh, community development, okay.
construction, whatever you wanna call it.
Okay.
I don't make names. What's going on with Filmgate? You know, I put my stuff out 2 weeks ago, the calendar says we're not getting film picked up, but we haven't changed it because you have to do an ordinance. Just lots of loose ends, again, things that aren't being taken care of. Yes, are insignificant given our financial and optics. I cannot stress enough that Borough Hall does not meet my standards. Yes, my standards are high for myself as well as others. But I would think that it's not such a high standard that when there's an official document, somebody signs their first and last name. Doesn't happen. Now we're hiring another administrative assistant. How many people do we know? Because I walk in there and I see people doing nothing. And as one who's had all of these jobs over the years, I find it really hard to be in a job, taking a salary or a paycheck and doing nothing. Again, you can't figure out your protocols, legislate, because it's ridiculous. Regarding the labor attorney, put me in the room with Public Works, I'll get you a contract. And next time, wear your green shirts. You are my boys in green. Okay, yes, I'll take you, yes. You want green shirt? Wait, okay, I need to insert you. I think I understood at the last meeting, correct me if I'm incorrect, but it is not law, we do not have to have a QPA. So let's get rid of it. We're not getting RFPs, we're not getting this, we're not getting that. Why do we need one? I did government purchasing, it's not so hard. Again, if you have people, just let them do their job. Why, well, I'm not asking the question, let me rephrase this. We could save a lot of money if we did not pay someone to have that position. During the mayor's comments, you said a lot about we. Who is we? Because it's not we. It's not we. So who is the we that made these decisions regarding what I would like to personally call, in my opinion, Weedagate? Who's the we? I mean, well, I guess I can't answer the question. We would like to know who's we. Little confusing. And with all these new projects and designs, where do they come from? Who approves them? Maybe it's not what we want. I don't see, once again, the grant and the bathroom then versus the storage space for the museum on the boardwalk. We made it clear we do not want that museum stuff there. We said, well, we can just get the money and then we'll decide. And then last week, we're sitting and talking about putting the museum there. Really, like this, do people not listen? Then we have the engineers, 2 people sit here for that meeting last week and presented a plan for Main Street that we'd already seen, not only once, but twice. So maybe we don't see the bills, so I don't know if there's a line item that says 214.24, 2 men times 4 hours equals, or if it just gets built into the cost, like government does not pay $1 million for a hammer, it's just part of the whole project. But this needs to stop. I don't want to pay for work that's already been done. I didn't want to pay the first time, let alone the second or third time. And I don't know how to right this ship.
Thank you.
That's your job, figure it out.
I'll just comment that our law enforcement and our administrative group does a great job for us, and they continue to do a great job. I don't necessarily agree with some of those comments that were made relative to those 2 groups, as does Public Works and our other departments, recreation, et cetera. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Yes.
I am Beth Kepler from 504 Central Avenue here in town. I prepared a statement and I'm giving copies to. Thank you, I appreciate that. Mayor Fox directly threatened me at the last council meeting when he said, "I'd be careful with that if I were you," in response to me telling him I believe he's embezzling my tax dollars. I sent an email to the Monmouth County Prosecutor Investigator Ryan Mahoney indicating my desire to file an IA complaint against Mayor Fox. In addition to my internal affair complaint he is currently handling against Chief Guida, I filed with him on November 1st. The July 2023 petition, which currently has nearly 275 Bradley Beach resident signatures, asking the Attorney General to assign a special prosecutor to investigate the criminal network operating within our borough, has been ignored by New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Blackton's office. On Friday, I started a second petition directed to the New Jersey Attorney General, which currently has 400 signatures in support, demanding the immediate termination of Chief Guida. Because Mayor Fox improperly and unilaterally accepted Chief Guida's retirement against Borough Attorney Greg Cannon's legal opinion, he seeks the advice and consent of the entire council body, is therefore not a valid action. Mayor Fox released his timeline of events to News 12. He stated he spoke with Chief Guida on November 10th. Then, in accordance with state guidelines, he said, on November 17th, the prosecutor became involved 9 days after it occurred, which is in fact not in accordance with the state guidelines, according to the IAPP manual, page 3, which states, where a preliminary investigation indicates the possibility of a criminal act on the part of the subject officer, the county prosecutor must be notified immediately. No further action should be taken, including the interviewing of or the filing of charges against the officer until the county prosecutor so directs. I personally sent an email reporting the November 9th incident to the Monmouth County Prosecutor Ryan Mahoney on November 14th, 3 days before Mayor Fox claims the borough first met with prosecutors on November 17th. I do not believe that Mayor Fox ever reported the matter. It was only after my notification as a private citizen, the prosecutor's office became aware, and they reached out to Mayor Fox when they began their investigation of my report to them. Mayor Fox and Chief Guida have demonstrated by their own inaction and their failure to notify the prosecutor immediately on the night of the incident that they were fully intending to cover up this criminal matter in an attempt to protect Chief Guida. That's how criminal networks operate. I have been unsuccessfully trying to contact the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office by way of multiple documented emails and voicemails with no response. I want to ask why no criminal charges have been filed against Chief Guida for his actions. I want to inform them of important and relevant facts I uncovered they should be aware of, such as it appears upon information and belief Chief Guida and the DUI driver Ken Winnick know each other personally. Because Chief Guida showed up off duty and attempted to interfere with the criminal investigation, obviously under the influence of alcohol himself, as was Mr. Winnick, it is of great interest and concern. There are reports circulating Mr. Winnick and Chief Guida were seen out together prior to the DUI accident. In 2015, Chief Guida went to court to litigate against the PBA to give his authority to check the officer's cell phone records, specifically calls and text messages. Therefore, under the current circumstances and by his own legal argument, Chief Guida should have no objection to making his own cell phone records available to determine if, in fact, Mr. Winnick's cell phone was in contact with Chief Guida's cell phone on November 9th. Because the Monmouth County Prosecutor and the New Jersey Attorney General, Mr. Blackton's office, for some unknown reason, seem to not want to or are not capable of properly and thoroughly investigating these critical data points, we the people are calling on a seasoned investigative reporter to please do the job the authorities seem to not want to do. For reasons and facts I've outlined tonight before this governing body, the media and the public would clearly demonstrate criminal network of collusion and subversion operating within our municipal government. We, the people of the Bradley Beach, demand an immediate resignation of you, Mayor Fox, current acting BA Meredith DeMarco, volunteer BA Greg Fehrenbach, as well as ex-BA and current QPA Kimberly Humphrey. Then, and only then, will this borough be able to begin to heal and to correct the havoc and damage the aforementioned individuals have wreaked upon this community.
Thank you. Lieutenant Browning, you're responsible for, I'm going to screw up the initials, IA.
I am the IA commander for the Bradley Beach.
You're the IA commander, internal affairs commander.
Yes, every department has to have a commander that's, oversees the internal affairs unit.
you know, as a point of contact and.
Were you on the scene on the 9th? Or after, just after?
Yeah, I would.
You were in the
was
building.
involved- I've been in from the moment this incident occurred, I was involved.
When did you report that to the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office?
You referenced it was an accurate statement. I didn't report it the next day,
So that would be November 10th,
November 10th. Yes.
the day after. So just to clear the record, that was done exactly the way it should have been, and Monmouth County Prosecutor's review with me was after they had, I guess, 5 working days to review the information and then sit down with me and brief me. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's always very difficult to talk about this because it's a passionate topic and we appreciate everyone's, you know, concern over it. I mean, obviously, this affects our members of the police department more than anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, there's things we have to do by the Attorney General guidelines, and we 100% followed everything.
Absolutely.
We had to do and were required to do, you know, above and beyond, because we want to be protected. I know ultimately, I don't want to be held responsible for not doing what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly.
It's tricky because there's a lot of confidentiality that goes on with it.
Mhm.
You have to kind of trust the process. I know that's very hard for members of the public to understand. But you have to trust the process, and ultimately, this is a very involved investigation with a lot of things going on. And at some point, everything will finally become clear and accessible, but there are things and timelines that you have to adhere to. And there's ways to get information, and there's things that we don't control. I have no control over what the prosecutor's office does. You know, I have no control over, you know, what you're the appropriate authority over the chief. So like, there's certain things that I do, certain things that you do, certain things that the prosecutor's office does. We work together for the best possible outcome, which, you know, I think is what we, you know, strive for. And I mean, I can't really make a comment because it's
No,
not.
I'm not- no.
I know.
I wasn't asking you to make a comment. I was just asking,
Right.
I wanted to just get on the
So-
record correct information around the date.
Yeah,
And you did exactly
would
what
like
you were
to-
supposed to do.
Yeah, I would like to just make it known that the police department and me as the IA commander, we did everything we're supposed to do according to the timeline. I've been in touch with the prosecutor's office for, you know, more the last couple of months than probably my entire 28-year career.
As have I.
You know, so I mean, that's, because hopefully that, you know, there's a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Might ask more questions, I don't know.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll do my best.
Council President, did you take over?
Oh, sure. I'm taking over. All right.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Shannon, come on up. There we go.
Switch the name back.
No, it's okay. Please state your name and your address.
Anna Greenblatt, not 414 Monmouth Avenue. As a member of the public, excuse me, there's a lot of conflicting information coming out about how our government is run. As it relates to the incident on Main Street, I would like to actually ask our borough council, Mr. Cannon, to clarify the proper protocol regarding the communication and the decision-making process of the governing body in this situation. And before I ask you to answer this question, I would like to just share comments that are extracted from a recent article dated February 26th. Each of these comments represent responses from each of the council members. I won't be identifying the council members, but I'd like to share this for the record. A councilman raised concerns about the lack of input from council members regarding the retirement decision and the absence of any disclosed actions taken by the town in response to the investigation findings. In response to the mayor's reference to actions taken by the borough, he goes on, what actions did the town take? Retiring seems to be the action undertaken by the chief himself. Council members gave no input into this, and of course, we have not seen the report from the prosecutor's office yet. This was dated February 26th. Another council comment, Mayor Larry Fox has illegally kept the council in the dark regarding this investigation. Now he is, quote, gone rogue, making a decision he had no right to make on his own. Our ordinances clearly give disciplinary powers to the entire governing body, chapter 5-30J2, and yet Mayor Fox continues to ignore the rest of the council. He received the prosecutor's report over a month ago and has still not shared it with the council. He has decided disciplinary action without engaging the council, and now Mayor Fox has made a public announcement without informing the council. And now another council person goes on. Mayor Fox is once again usurping council authority to solely direct the review and decision-making process regarding the Chiquita incident. Mayor Fox also stated that any actions taken by the borough would be his decision. And finally, an additional comment. Mayor Fox has once again unilaterally acted without the council, who have authority in this matter and represent the people of Bradley Beach. In today's statement, Mayor Fox implores our, quote, tight-knit community to turn a blind eye and improve itself, while residents are left to pay for yet another administrative failure. And so with each of these 4 comments representing council, I asked our borough council, Cannon, to please clarify for us the protocol with regard to the governing body in this decision.
So it's a complicated question. You can just go online and read the ordinance, but there's also a collective bargaining agreement and a policies and procedures manual that govern that. I'm going to respectfully ask and just decline to answer that question because it's not my job to review, it's the labor attorney's job. I try to stay in my lane. Apparently there's some accidents going on in other lanes I learned about tonight, but I just don't have, I couldn't tell you from soup to nuts to go from the top to the bottom. I could tell you that is something that has been discussed amongst the governing body earlier this evening. And I'll wait the labor attorney's opinion on it.
So will.
As to your latter question, you can see what sort of issue this is in the town. There's the news that was just here in the back of the camera, staying room only. And the borough attorney for the town and none of the council members have seen any more information than you have. And I can tell you that I've been doing this for 14 years and that's not how you do this. Just as a practical matter, you can forget about the legalities. So, you know, I was put in the unfortunate position the last two weeks ago, telling you that we have no idea what's going on. That obviously wasn't accurate. So you can draw your own conclusions from that, but that's where we're at.
So will borough residents be updated as to where this goes and?
I don't know. The mayor hasn't talked to me in 8 weeks, so I not talking to students, I don't know. I appreciate your question. I don't
Will
know.
the labor attorney be updating and providing
The
some?
labor attorney doesn't talk to me either, so
But, okay, and I appreciate that, and thank you for your honesty.
and you saw the news article in December where there's some people that don't want me here, so I can understand.
One.
Well, maybe 2.
So, I guess.
Maybe when someone wants all lanes, I don't
And
know.
Mayor Fox is not here now to answer my question. So, I will come back and ask.
I don't know what's up with that.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your question.
I mean, I do want to add one more thing, Shanna. We did get a letter from Ray Santiago and Mayor read from it, so I guess I can share it because he did say the prosecutor's office does not administer discipline. That is the function of the appropriate governing authority. And we have an ordinance 5-30 that said the council, it's the mayor and the council that govern over the authority of discipline. So we didn't have the information, now we have the information and we will see how we go forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tom? Dr. McGuire?
You said.
Dr. McGuire,
Good to
610
see you.
Ridley Avenue. Sorry I got here late, I missed everything. So I did catch a few things, and I just wanted to ask a question. Was there a vote of no confidence tonight in the mayor?
Yes.
There was? Damn, I missed that. All right, because I was gonna implore you to please do it, just do it, Ken, just for fun. I didn't know that I thought the last meeting we talked about the DPW and the rest of the people not having contracts. And it's still not done. I know the mayor just left. he loves to leave when we have this good stuff to talk about. He left when it was about Meredith, and now it's about this, he just likes to leave. So I just like to remind everyone that he likes to leave when it's uncomfortable. But I know you guys got your hands tied, and you can't do anything, you know, you can't force him to talk to you about Bernstein, who stinks. I know you guys want to get rid of him, he's doing a terrible job. And is there any way that the town, the news, I mean, I love that the DPW is here, but they're taking up our seats. And making it so hot here. So many people. So I don't want them here anymore. I love them, but I know they don't want to be here. So can we please, I wish the mayor was here to just like, give them on the contract. It's ridiculous. Oh, the DPW is great. Oh, gee, he's the best. He loves to talk a game, but then there's nothing that happens. I mean, he can't even sell a church. You know, that's very valuable. I mean, why, we haven't done that. We're doing RFPs, which I think is just BS. No one should be doing RFPs for this. We could have sold this property 6 months ago. So if we're going at the speed of the RFPs, I'm telling DPW not to hold their breath. So I mean, it's sad, but we are not moving fast with anything they're doing in the government. And I might have missed it. Was he saddened by this? The media being here and we're reporting on this at all? Did he say anything about that? No, he wasn't sad about that. According to his statement, he was saddened by the media attention and the media pull not by actually what is the problem. So I really just hope he addresses the problem for everyone. And I didn't know all those other people that are considered part of that, like so I called the dispatch people, so they've helped me plenty of times get people out of my driveway, so they're very important. So I just hope they get paid, and I wish again, but I don't know what to do. I wish you guys could do something. It sucks.
We are trying.
I know, and I feel like.
And in
something
fact,
to do.
you know, in January, we nominate all the professionals, and we recommended a different
I know.
And
But-
unfortunately, he was the only one that wanted to keep this Bernstein on.
Yeah.
And if we don't all agree,
Yeah.
we can't change the attorney.
Yeah.
So this way that attorney just stays on. Cause it's yet another loophole,
Yeah,
but
and.
yes.
I wanna see so many more things.
So we're,
Okay.
I don't know if Greg, if we can change the attorney.
Well, maybe, could I make a comment?
I mean, most people, the opinion is exactly what you just read.
Right, it had to be all 5 votes, so we have 4 votes to change the attorney. We need, at this point, yes.
You need a nomination
And
and advice and consent. So you need the mayor and a majority of the council. To be very specific, you need a mayor and a majority of the council to agree. Well, I'm a holdover right now.
We are all holdovers.
It's working out great.
Holdover, lovely. Thank you very much.
Oh, I have one more comment, Councilman Gubertosi.
Yeah,
To me?
no,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
partly in response to you, but partly in response to comments that have been made this evening. It's so difficult, I realize, when you're not living the life we live on the council, that it's not always clear the delineation of responsibilities. The council, the 4 of us are legislators. We do not direct employees. We often vote on hiring, but we can't say, you know, we don't like person A or person B. People have referenced not only some concerns that have been raised, but regarding the labor attorney, but also, other positions in the borough. Very simply put, the council has the right to approve a budget. We approve a budget, a spend amount. And once we do that, how those dollars are spent is largely in the hands of the mayor and our administration. They direct our employees, they hire and they fire and so forth. What the council does have the power to do is investigate. We can authorize an investigation. And I'm not going to comment on, am I out of time, Eric? I'm not going to comment on our professionals, but I must say that the folks who have spoken tonight on behalf of local 152, you've all been very compelling, but Ms. Browning, you, you touched the nerve with me, and the fact that this gentleman, if in fact, you know, what you described is true, that, you know, he did the zero. Well, if he did, what I would like this council to do, and I'm about to make a motion. I would like to use our power to investigate this process. I don't know, before I make the motion, Mr. Cannon, I'll ask your opinion, but if this is true, if we find through an investigation that this is true, I think that level of disrespect and that level of potential antagonism and alleged for the moment, is just absolutely not to be tolerated by this council. So it's one thing to be a tough negotiator, and I'm not picking sides at this point, who's offering what and what's reasonable, what's not. This council has had no specific feedback. We've been told there are challenges, and we've been given examples without any more detail. But if any representative of this borough is treating our employees with that level of disrespect, I want to confirm that, and then I think we collectively need to put pressure on our mayor to consider changes. But again, that would only be after an investigation. Now, Mr. Cannon, I'm about to make that motion that we have an investigation. Obviously, that would require spending more money, which none of us want to do. But if our only alternative, unless, Mr. Cannon, you have another alternative.
Can I suggest something?
Please.
We already have Mr. Salmon investigating the police contract, which is the last one. If you guys can, why don't you make a motion to direct us, there would be Erica, to put together a resolution, and if we need a proposal, you can't just willy-nilly say we're gonna investigate it. So, and that also gives you 2 weeks from today to maybe work this out in some way that doesn't cost everyone more money, because people are arguing. But I would just suggest you just use Mr. Salmon. He's already doing the one negotiation. You might as well. To the other, I can ask him for a proposal and you can consider it next time we come.
Greg, is that like the best route, an independent attorney? There's no body that governs, you know, like labor negotiations or anything?
Oh,
like
when
that?
there's an impasse, they can file PERT, but
Well, right.
that's,
Yeah.
I think they're trying to avoid that by being here tonight.
Okay.
So
And I'm trying to address.
would recommend that round.
I'm trying to address the potential inappropriate behavior of one of our professionals. So this is less of a bargaining issue to me. This is more of how do our professionals conduct themselves? And again, I'm not making a decision one way or the other now, but I think the council does have the authority to conduct to request an investigation.
You already have one into collective bargaining negotiations at this moment, so certainly you
All
do.
right. So given your
Procedurally, we can't just start one tonight without a proposal or.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a motion.
You make a motion to direct, why don't you, the last time you made a motion to direct me to get a proproposal and
Yeah.
us to put a resolution for your consideration together. Could certainly do the same thing. We can bring that back next time. And like I said, that gives us 2 weeks to maybe figure it out.
You're saying I've had practice making motions to do investigations.
I was politely saying, I think you know how to do it, Councilman.
So, given your guidance, that would also afford us a couple of weeks for the mayor to consider the role that, you know, whether or not we should move forward with an investigation. I make a motion that this council authorizes an expansion of the existing investigation so that we could understand the behavior of our professionals in the course of the contract negotiations with Local 152.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes, but shouldn't Jane vote last? Because now like she's the mayor.
I'm going in alphabetical order, which is what it states in the clerk's book. Mayor Fox, absent.
Great. Mr. Cohen.
Thomas J. Cohen, 612 Clear Avenue, I think, I feel bad for Public Works, but I realize why this is happening. Is because the former BA didn't hire any of her nephews to work on Public Works. Otherwise, that contract would have been done. You know, I just had a question for Mr. Browning. Mr. Browning, Lieutenant. On I said in this chamber, I filed a complaint against Chief Guida September 27th of 2021. And according to you tonight, that is supposed to be forwarded based on the internal affairs policies and procedures. 5.1.8 should be forwarded to the prosecutor's office, and the prosecutor's office informed me that that never happened. So is that Mayor Fox and the business administrator at that time's error? Or is that, I mean, I don't want to throw you under the bus, I'm just trying to figure out how I was disregarded. Maybe it's because of who I am, I don't know.
No, I mean, I can just say I have no knowledge of that incident at all. So
Okay,
so I couldn't comment because I don't.
okay, and I want to answer some questions for Mr. Doherty. I don't know if he's still here. James Doherty made some great points about hiring and how it works in the borough revenue. So the police hiring, here's how it works. Chief Guida hires the business administrator's nephew. And then 3 months later, the business administrator negotiates the contract for 2 years for Chief Guida. And then the business administrator negotiates the contract for PBA 50, of which her nephew is now a member. I mean, that's how it works, and it's New Jersey, I guess. But it's embarrassing, it's really quite embarrassing, and Mr. Doherty did bring up some great comments. Now, I want to tell you that the prosecutor's office, you know, I can't wait to read the report. I have done an Oprah to the Attorney General's office to try to get a copy. Because it's gotta be interesting reading, but I filed a complaint. Because the second time I filed a complaint against Chief Guida, I just skipped the town. I just went right to the prosecutor's office. So there were multiple complaints about Chief Guida's behavior in this room. And in this room, I was speaking one day, and I got a phone call the next day from a nice lady in the audience who said, Chief Guida gave you the finger while you were speaking. And she took this picture, okay? Well, went to the prosecutor's office, spent over an hour in the investigation room. It's kind of like 2020, it was kind of cool, especially when you didn't do anything wrong. But I gotta tell you, the determination was, well, we need to talk to the lady. The lady said to me, I'm 75 years old, I've lived here for 40 years. I'm petrified if I tell anybody. So they said, well, you can't supply the person, and Chief Guida said he didn't do it. I said, I have a picture. Well, it didn't matter. But you know what? Karma is an amazing thing. And, you know, I'm so happy that the process was a video. And I'm so happy that that video was released to the public, because that is due process. Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen, yes, Shisius.
Eileen Shishias, 112 Fourth Avenue. Eileen Shishias, 112 Fourth Avenue. I appreciate the gentleman that came up and spoke about speed around town. It's chronic throughout town. I live on Fourth Avenue. They can go 60 miles an hour down our street. And from the stop sign down to Ocean Avenue, there are children. The way the driveways are, people come out of their driveways. They can't see oncoming cars. They have to crawl out of their driveway to see oncoming traffic. Somebody is seriously going to be killed in this town because of the way cars are speeding all over the place. And I think I mentioned this once before. I used to live in Copeland Township. Pennington Borough has the strictest speed laws in a little municipality you would ever want to witness. Even when people have invitations, they mark on the invitations, speed limits are strictly enforced. Do not speed. The speed limit is 25 miles out in town. You do not go more than 25 miles an hour. In fact, I was just sharing with my daughter this morning about when they were little, there was a little candy store that I would go, and I was stuck because I was going 28 miles an hour. So that, I think, our town needs that type of enforcement. And it's just out of control. And, I'm just hoping we'll see an improvement in that area. And thank you. I don't need to be picking on you, but I think it's just a matter of bringing it to your attention how serious the problem is and how the residents are really very, very worried about somebody seriously becoming injured or killed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment or question?
We do have somebody on.
Okay, I think is it
Don
Don?
Greenberg.
Don Greenberg? You're on.
Don?
You're muted.
Yeah.
Just-
Hey,
Yeah,
guys, Don Greenberg, 302 Park Place. How's it going, guys?
very well, thank you. How you doing?
So I'm doing good. So I had I had to call in, and people have addressed the incident on Main Street. Was that a Springsteen or a Stones album? But I think that's
it's
been
Bob
addressed.
Seger. Down
Yeah,
on Main Street.
yeah, I think that's been addressed enough, but I had no idea what was going on with the DPW contract. I mean, I know it was a negotiation. I had no idea it was 14 months. And I think that's a travesty. And that's something that needs to be corrected. And I just wanted all the DPW guys there and ladies there to know that, you know, we support you. We think it's a travesty what's going on. To have an offer to cut your salaries and cut your benefits when everything is going up is just ridiculous. And, you know, I mean, I wish I could wave a magic wand and give you a great contract. I can't, but I just want you to know that we do support you. We appreciate what you guys do. And we're behind you. And that's kind of all I got.
I agree.
So thank
Thanks,
you very
Bob.
much. You're welcome.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. I know you could be 10 million other places. I appreciate your comments, your questions. Oh, we have another.
Patton can't raise his hand on Zoom, he keeps saying.
Oh, does he want to make a comment?
Yeah.
Okay, Bob Patton, if you can unmute, I see you in the corner there. See if it works.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Bob.
Hey, guys.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Bob Patton, 207 Evergreen Avenue.
Thank you.
I want to say this without getting emotional because I feel very much for the DPW workers. The fact that Larry Fox has not attended a single session or been an integral part of this process from day one is absolutely a travesty. There's no excuse for it. He's leaving his people, his residents, his employees on a hook. And I hope everybody remembers this when it comes time to vote in a new mayor. Because all the people who are supporting Larry Fox as our CEO, as we've clearly said, our counselor on the legislative side, he would have been fired 10 times over in any company. He hasn't done the 2022 budget, and we just found out the tragic news that Kim Humphrey screwed up our numbers, and we're just finding this out now. So the town's not going to give us our 224 budget approval till we get the 222 numbers in, and they're stale. So I don't know how we do numbers to this year when we're working on 2-year-old numbers from the past. That's absolutely tragic. For him to leave the DPW workers and not be involved here, that's just dropping his duties. It's I don't know what he does for work. What does he do for this job? He's getting nothing done. The church, nothing. Our BA is unqualified and really just a mouthpiece for him. It's really disgusting. And so I just want to say for everybody out there, we're going to elect a new mayor. And we know who's doing the jobs and who wants to do the job for us. We know who's not doing the job. And there's no excuse for him anymore. So I just had to say that. I'm sorry, a little straightforward, but it is what it is.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate your comments. Anybody else? All right. Oh, yes, please.
It's kind of like a contention for us a little bit. It's DPW, dispatchers, clerical.
Yes.
Court administrators is not just one, where we stand together They are a bigger unit, I'll give it that. But they stand with us. They back us.
Thank you for reminding us. Yes, it's not
Yeah,
just
it's-
DPW. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, give me your address then. I'm like, I'm trying to say Bradley Beach. 26. South Riverside.
Okay, anybody else have any more comments? Okay, thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate your comments, your questions and your presence. It's really truly appreciated. Have a beautiful night and be safe. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Erica.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Oh, you.